In 2001, Microsoft and Bungie released Halo for the Xbox. Now, on consoles, first-person shooters were not very popular. There were games such as GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Medal of Honor, and of course, there was Turok. But many of these games suffered from clunky controls, complex weapon switching, as you'd have to cycle through a ton of weapons just like on a PC game, except you couldn't press, say, 1, 2, 3, or 4 to switch weapons on a console. And of course, did I even mention that they lacked online or system link? Then Microsoft and a little known Macintosh developer they acquired, Bungie, decided to release Halo 1. The game was a major sales success and it helped make the Xbox and Halo household names. And it also was later ported to the PC, the Mac, the 360, and now the Xbox One real soon. So how amazing and revolutionary was this game? Well, let's start the review, shall we? And let me start the review off first by talking about the versions of the game. Halo 1 for the original Xbox was the first version, and it lacked many multiplayer maps, many multiplayer vehicles, and some weapons, and it also lacked one of the main features, which was online. The game could only be played through System Link or split screen. However, it did feature a co-op version, which the PC version lacked. The PC version was released later on in 2003, and the PC version offered more features such as online, more maps, more vehicles, and of course, it also allowed you to change the graphics settings. But of course, like I said, it did not have co op. Custom Edition was released not long afterwards, and despite being based off the PC version, it was a downloadable edition to anybody who purchased the PC version. Despite lacking single player, unless you used converted single player maps, which were converted from Halo PC to Custom Edition, as it used a different map format, you could end up using Halo custom maps, which you could make using freely available tools downloaded online. So you can make your own maps for Halo Custom Edition, unlike with Halo PC, which requires you to replace a map file and will cause you to crash if you join another server which uses the normal maps and not your custom map file. Halo for the Macintosh was released around the same time as the original PC version. However, the Macintosh version included a few graphical upgrades that the PC version did not have without mods or tweaking, along with the fact that the Mac version contained, of course, because it was a Mac game, for some weird reason, the text chat appears in the corner of the screen where the kill feed, like let's just say so-and-so killed so-and-so, would appear on the Xbox version. Then, recently, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary was released on the Xbox 360, and despite lacking the original multiplayer, the game does feature remastered campaign levels, which allow you to toggle between the original graphics and sound, along with the new graphics and music, which you can always select between. It also has achievements in online co-op, but like I said, it lacks the original multiplayer, opting to go for several maps remade for Halo Reach instead on the Halo Reach engine. Now, the Combat Evolved Anniversary single player along with the Halo PC multiplayer are going to be ported to the Xbox One for the Master Chief Collection. But now that I've got that out of the way, let me start the review. But first, let me just say this last thing. The review footage was from the PC version, while the multiplayer footage was from the Custom Edition due to the fact that Custom Edition has a better multiplayer mode for more reasons I'll go into in this video. So the storyline of the game is this. It's the future. Your ship is being attacked by Covenant alien forces, and you, this cyborg in a fancy suit, is humanity's only hope against these aliens. Of course, you get onto the Halo after your ship has to crash land onto this ring-shaped device called the Halo, and your goal is to basically find out what is the purpose of this Halo and why is the enemy on this and what are they trying to do. Of course, you find this all through playing, along with another enemy who's become infamously hated, the Flood, who pops up not long after you start playing. The game featured innovative for its time cutscenes featuring dialogue and acting from the characters in the game, along with lips that are well synced, especially considering how many games on consoles were not very well synced or reports of older PC first person shooters. The graphics in this game were pretty revolutionary for 2001 too, especially when you consider this was on a console, and said console was a lot more powerful than the GameCube, the PS2, and other similar consoles that came about this time. When the game came out on consoles for the first time, however, it was revolutionary, especially when it came to controls. The control scheme was very unique. You see, while many console games had you using two analog sticks, well, trying to emulate the old PC layout, for example, with GoldenEye having the stick move you up and down and turning you, with the other stick buttons strafing you and of course looking up and down. This game pulled it off real well by trying to emulate the WASD control scheme. The left stick moves you up, down, and sideways as in strafing, while the other stick moves your camera around. This control scheme ended up being adopted by many non-first-person shooter games and became the traditional one for gaming, especially due to how it was pulled off, with one stick turning the camera around and the other stick moving your character either up, down with strafing or moving him around in the case of third-person games. The combat affected the controls as well. The B button would deliver a quick physical attack to the enemy instead of you having to switch through weapons to get to either a knife or a crowbar, with the X button allowing you to pick up weapons and activate switches, with the Y button allowing you to switch between the two weapons you already have instead of picking up weapons like the X would let you do. And this would reflect in the gameplay as not only did many weapons have limited ammo, but alien weapons or Covenant weapons would have limitations. For example, plasma rifles you could not pick up ammunition for them. Same with plasma pistols and other weapons of the like. Of course, the sequel changed this, but for Halo 1, many of the weapons were designed this way, making you have to go out and actually pick up another weapon just to attack, instead of being able to just pick up ammo and switch like with other video games that tried multiple weapons. Despite there being a health bar, there also was a shield right above it, and you had to hide from the enemies to regenerate your shield, which did not regenerate very quickly. You also had a health bar right below that, which many Halo games until ODST and Reach lacked. Many Halo games did not have this while Halo 1 had it, so you had an extra layer of difficulty as you had to also pick up health packs and manage your health, because after your shield was depleted, you could only take so many hits before you were dead. And it did not regenerate either, like Halo 2 and other Halo games similar to that. The artificial intelligence in this game was revolutionary too. You could do various things to the artificial intelligence, such as sneak up behind enemies and attack them, to taking out the leader of the enemies, which was the elite normally, and having the grunts just run around. This artificial intelligence was a major feature, as many games just had you shooting at random enemies before and after this game. So this game had groundbreaking artificial intelligence for its time. And on harder difficulties, the game can be extremely hard to beat, unless you do it with a second player, especially in the remakes with Skulls and the like. Many of the maps for both the single and multiplayer can be big, wide, and open. especially the single player maps, which are on the Xbox 2, which show you just how powerful the Xbox was with its hard drive that allowed the game to cache maps. You could run through the map just shooting enemies, and despite being somewhat linear, they were wide open, especially for a console game. And this was what made Halo 1 pretty innovative for its time as well, especially on the Xbox. And the game was pretty innovative when it comes to that, and the maps have aged well too, allowing you to have fun times taking out tons of enemies on various levels, from the Silent Cartographer level, which is available in the demo, to this map, which was called just Halo. There's also a motion tracker, which allows you to track the enemies around you and plan your strategy, because you'll be able to see where they're moving. This also factors in multiplayer, but you can disable this feature. And speaking of that, now let me talk about the legendary multiplayer. Now for multiplayer, I'm going to be referring to Custom Edition, as it is a better multiplayer than, let's just say, Halo on the Xbox. But Halo Custom Edition featured far more maps, as you could create your own maps and share them. It also featured better online code and the ability to let you see, like, let's just say, the server settings by pressing F2. And also, due to the fact that it was easy to pirate, it has a much bigger multiplayer community than Halo PC. But anyways, the multiplayer of Halo 1 is this. You have several modes, from Slayer to Capture the Flag to Oddball, which is a mode where one person has to hold the skull and everybody has to chase them, to King of the Hill, which is a mode where everybody has to stand on top of the hill and has to kill the person who's on top of it, along with trying to take control of it. It also featured a few more game types which weren't played as much, such as Juggernaut, where you have to kill the person who is marked as the Juggernaut before he kills you, and Crazy King, where the hill moves in King of the Hill, and it also features Assault, which is basically reverse Capture the Flag in Halo 1. However, this game does let you customize your own game types, so you can play the game however you want, and you can host your own servers, as this game uses a server list in the PC version. Multiplayer is pretty fun when it comes to the PC version, and many of the weapons are mostly balanced. However, the pistol is the best weapon in the game, and anybody who plays online knows this. So while you can use other weapons, once you get good with the pistol, you might not need to, because you can just shoot a pistol to take out a tank, a warthog, or a ghost. You can also use tanks in many servers. However, unlike in later Halo games, they are easily able to be killed with a few shots from a pistol. In later Halo games, however, there were other weapons that did similar things, such as the carbine, and of course the battle rifle, as the pistol was basically nerfed. However, it was also replaced technically by those other weapons, as they served the same purpose, and you did not spawn with them either. However, you can change the spawns of the weapons, like I said, in Halo 1. So all in all, my thoughts on this game: this game's a pretty fun game, and it's also one of the better Halo games. And honestly, you should get this game on PC, preferably PC, mainly due to the online multiplayer alone. I'd also recommend getting the original Xbox version if for some bizarre reason you can't run the PC version, even though you can run the PC version on nearly anything these days. I wouldn't get Combat Evolved Anniversary though, mainly due to the fact that not only is there a version on the Xbox One being released soon with the original Halo multiplayer, but it also features online with the original multiplayer, along with the multiplayers of 2, 3, and 4. So, if you want to get Anniversary, I'd wait for that. Otherwise, get this game on PC. You won't regret it. It's a fun, classic game, and even though GameSpy is shutting down, Halo Patch 1.10 removes GameSpy. All in all, like I said, Get this game. This is a classic and it never gets old. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.